Hey, it's Mike. It's Old Religion Dystopia, Known versus Belief. Or in YouTube, it's Old Religion Dystopia 2. BitChute is Old Religion Dystopia, Known versus Belief. And I'm going to keep on punishing myself, a glutton for punishment. I decided to continue on reading Genesis. I started doing a breakdown of the first 20 chapters, and it's like, what an endeavor. I don't know. I'm better off just finishing off my commitment, what I committed to do, which is to read this and record it, even though no one's paying attention. But, well, there's a couple of you. There's several of you. Thank you for those who are. Thank you very much. I guess all praise and glory go to you, God Most High. Another miserable day for me. The MS is just bad. When it gets in the 80s and 90s, I'm just pretty much shot. Not to say I didn't have problems before, but God, I suck as a human being. Anyways, you think with all this endeavor, jeez. Oh well. The Lord visited Sarah as he said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, as at the set time of which God had spoken of him. Abraham apparently is a prophet, by the way. We read that earlier, didn't we? Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abram circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days of old, as God had commanded him. And we're still doing this today, even though we should be completely abandoning everything about this at this point. No longer under the circumcision of the law, yet everybody's getting circumcised under the bogus pretense that it's clan. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born unto him, and Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. Okay, Sarah. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And I guess, does that mean he was done sucking on his mommy's boobies? And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the things was very grievous to Abraham's sight because of his son. And God said unto Abraham, let not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, because of thy bondwoman. In all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also the son of the bondwoman I will make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, took bread and bottled water, and gave it unto Hagar, and putting it on his shoulder and the child, and sent her away, and she departed and wandered in the wilderness and Beersheba. Sounds to me like Sarah wasn't all that great of a human being either, huh? But I guess it doesn't matter how great you are as long as you call upon the name of the Lord, huh? And the water was spent in a bottle, And she cast the child under one of the shrubs, and she went and set her down over against him a good way off, and as it were a bowshot. And she said, let him not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lifted her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise and lift up the lad, and hold him in thy hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water, and gave the lad to drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. Sounds to me like he's pretty cool. Actually, to be honest with you, the two, I like Ishmael a lot more than I like Isaac, to be honest with you. Sounds to me like Ishmael might be a much cooler dude. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, the chief of captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by God, that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou sojourn. And Abraham said, I swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of the well of water which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not who has done these things, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. And Abraham took a sheep and ox, and gave them to Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of his flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast sent by themselves? And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba, and Abimelech rose up, and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called there on the name of the Lord, everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. Interesting that he planted a grove, trees, and spirits seem to like to hang around trees. I honestly think the trees represent the nervous system of this creation myself. The neurons that connect the sky, the land, and underneath the land. Drawing water from there and back again, right? And it came to pass that after these things, that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee. Now people say that God doesn't tempt, But right here, God tempts. He tempts literally Abraham. I don't know if he does that in our day, but he did it back then. Although I wonder. And Abram rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which God had told him. Then, and by the way, Jesus was tempted as well, right? So God does allow things to be, God does tempt and allows you to be tempted, at least. I think it still happens, to be honest with you. I think so. Some would argue, but you can't really argue the fact that God has never tempted anybody or allowed someone to be tempted, because there's Job and there's Abraham and Jesus and etc., etc. Even Adam, if you think about it, he allowed Satan to tempt, or at least his wife to tempt him, right? So anyways, then on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw a place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide thee here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abram took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, well, why would he say, Here I am, my son? I mean, were they separated? Did he not see his father? And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? And Abram said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which God had told of him. And Abram built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took a knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called upon unto him of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abram went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. And Abram called the name of the place Jehovah Jireh, and said, as it is said to this day, In the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. And the angel of the Lord called upon Abraham out of heaven a second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and then in multiplying I will multiply thy seed, as the stars of heaven, as the sands which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gates of his enemies. And thy seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things, that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she has also borne a child unto thy brother Nahor. Huz, his firstborn, and Buz, his brother, and Camel, his father of Aram, and Chesed, and Hazo, and Paldesh, and Jebleth, and Bethel. And Bethel begot Rebekah. These 8 Melchah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and his concubine, whose name was Rumah. She bare also Tebah, and Gabham, and Thahash, and Maacah. And Sarah was 107 years old, and these were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjatharba, Kirjatharba. The same in Hebron is Hebron. The same is Hebron, the land of the Canaan. And Abraham came to the mount of Sarah for Sarah, came to mourn for Sarah, and to weep for her. And Abram stood up from before his dead, spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us, and the choice of your sepulchres bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thy dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even the children of Heth. I'm calling it Heth, it's Heth. And he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat for me to Ephron, the son of Zohar. Does we have a book called Zohar as well? What have I gotten myself in? What have we all gotten ourselves into? That he may give me a cave of Machpelah, I guess I should pronounce it, Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field, for as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for a possession of a burying place amongst you. And Ephraim dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham, and the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my lord, hear me. The field I give thee, the cave that is therein, I give it to thee. In the presence of the sons of my people, I give it to thee. Bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land, and he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, My lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is it that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, at 400 shekels of silver, current money, with the merchant. I wonder who was doing all the mining. What slaves were doing that? And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field, and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were and all the borders round about, were made shrubs, and unto Abraham for possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. And after this Abram buried Sarah, his wife, in a cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre. The same is Hebron, the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. And Abraham was old, and well stricken in age. And if I've been calling him Abram all this time, anyways, it was Abraham, anyways. And the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant in his house, that ruled over all that he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I'll make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but thou shalt go unto my country, to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, Beware thou that thou bring not my son thither again. The Lord God of heaven, which took me from my father's house, and from the land of my kindred, which spake unto me, and sware unto me, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land, and he shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. A little bit of racism going on here too, right? So we got all sorts of crazy things going on. Possible infanticide, possible attempted infanticide, polygamy, what other, incest, and if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath, only bring not my son thither again. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and sware to him concerning the matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed, for all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, unto the city of Nahor. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by the well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. And he said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the damsels to whom I shall say, Let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I make drink, and she shall say, Drink, and I will give thy camels drink also, and let the same be she that shall hast appointed for thy servant Isaac, and thereby shall I know that thou hast showed kindness unto my master. And it came to pass, before he had done speaking, that behold, Rebekah, the babe, the hot chick Rebekah, came out, who was born of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well, and filled her pitcher, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her, and said, Let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, Drink, my lord. She hasted, and let down her pitcher upon her hand, and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have done drinking. And she hasted and emptied her pitcher into the trough, and ran again unto the well to draw water, and drew from all his camels. And the man wondering at her held his peace, to wit, whether the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass that as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a gold earring of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels weight of gold, and said, Whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee. Is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. And she said moreover unto him, We have both straw and provender enough, and the room to lodge in. And the man bowed down his head, and worshipped the Lord. And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who hath not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. And I being in the way, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren. And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the well. It came to pass, when he saw the earring and the bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, Thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, Come in, thou blessed of the Lord, wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house and the room for the camels. And the man came into the house, and he ungirded his camels, and gave straw and provender for the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat, and he said, I will not eat until I have told my errand. And he said, Speak on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant, and the Lord has blessed my master greatly, and he is become great, and he hath given him flocks, herds, and herds and silver and gold and manservants, maidservants and camels and asses. And Sarah my master's wife bare a son to my master where she was old, and unto him hath he given all that he hath. Don't really dig Abraham that much, do you? I don't. He doesn't seem like that dude I would like too much. Anyways, God blessed him, so that's all I guess that matters, right? My master made me swear, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife to my son of daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my father's house, and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son. And I said unto my master, Peradventure the woman will not follow me. And he said unto me, The Lord before whom I will walk will send his angel with thee, and prosper thy way. And thou shalt take a wife for my son of my kindred, of my father's house. And then shalt thou be clear from this my oath. And when thou comest to my kindred, if they give not thee one, thou shalt be clear from my oath. And it came this day unto the well, and said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, if now thou do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water, and shall come to pass, that when the virgin cometh forth to draw water, I say to her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water of the pitcher, of thy pitcher, to drink. And she saith to me, Both drink thou, and I will also draw for thy camels, lest some be the woman whom the Lord hath appointed out of my master's sons. Well, one of the problems with this in this day and age, still reading this, that there's some validity in our day, is it justifies such things as misogyny and slavery and a lot of other bad things. Back then, I guess you had to do it to survive, but you don't need to do it today in 2022. No, I don't like a lot of the message of Genesis. I don't know anybody who's saying they could, but anyways, to each their own. And before I had done speaking in my heart, I'm sorry, God, I'm not judging you, I'm judging the insanity of humanity itself. At my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down unto the well and drew water. And I said unto her, Let me drink, and I pray thee. And she made haste and let down her pitcher from her shoulder, and said, Why do we have to read all this? My God. Honestly, when you think about this, why couldn't this in death be about Genesis 1 in the creation story? It's not. But when it comes to Rebecca and Isaac getting him a chick, look how lengthy and wordy it is that he ends up getting how he ended up getting a wife. Oh, good God! And she hath haste and let down her pitcher from her shoulder, and said, Drink, and I will give thee thy camel drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, Whose daughter art thou? And she said, Really? And then the daughter of Bethel, and Nahor's son. And Milcah bare unto him. And I put earring upon her face, and a bracelet upon her hands. God have mercy. Really? And I bowed down my head and worshipped the Lord, and blessed the Lord God of my master of Abraham, which had led me in the right way, and take my master's brother's daughter unto his son. Incest! Yay! Bribery, incest. Now if ye will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me; if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. And then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the things proceedeth from the Lord, and we cannot speak unto thee bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be the master's son's wife, as the Lord hath spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped the Lord and bowed himself to the ground. And the servants brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiments, and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to his brother and her mother precious things. Talk about materialism. And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with them, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning. He said, send me away unto my master. And her brother and her mother said, let the damsel abide with us a few days, at least 10. After that she shall go. And he said unto them, hinder me not, seeing the Lord hath prospered my way. Send me away, that I may go to my master. And they said, we will call the damsel, and inquire at her mouth. And they called Rebekah, and said unto her, wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. Hell yeah, I get anything to get the hell out of this place. And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they blessed Rebekah, and said unto her, be thou our sister, and be thou the mother of thousands of millions. You know what that means, right? Billions of people. Let them seeds possess the gates of those which hate them. Let thy seed possess the gate of those that hate them. Well, who hates them? And Rebekah arose and her damsel, and they rode off. They rode upon camels and followed the man, and the servant took Rebekah and went his way. And Isaac came from the way of the well of Lahairoi, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to mediate in the field at the eventime, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. And when she had said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Whew. I hate Genesis. I know a lot of people love Genesis. God, I hate the Torah. I mean, I know it sounds sacrilegious, but man, it's brutal reading this stuff. But I made a commitment I'd read this Bible one more time before I die. And then again, Abram took his wife, and took a wife's name was Keturah. And that's a great place to stop, because I feel like I'm being abused terribly. I understand why no one listens, but I made a commitment. Believe me, there's a million other things that are tempting me to study. I'd rather read the Mice and Men, be honest with you, or something like that. But I made a commitment, God. I'm trying not to be sacrilegious, God. That's not sacrilegious. I'm trying not to be disrespectful to you, Lord God Almighty. But gosh darn it, this was years and years and years ago. What's our story in all this? When are we going to get our story? Oh, you know what I'm saying, God? Anyways. I already did. We just read Genesis 21 through 24.